There are three things I bake regularly: my standard wheat sourdough bread, baguettes and raisin rolls. Today I show you how to make raisin rolls with sourdough. What a lovely day to bake. Moin, my name is Arne, German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. For years I have baked my raisin rolls with commercial yeast. But at least since my cinnamon rolls video, I know it also works differently. So I changed my recipe and baked these delicious raisin rolls. Through the soaked raisins, they are super juicy and airy, light even without yeast. The recipe is not complicated and also suitable for beginners. I usually always make 2 bacon sheets full and freeze the rolls. 1 minute in the microwave and they are like freshly baked. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with Loaf. The evening before we want to bake, we soak the raisins with some juice. I have taken apple juice here. Usually I'm using orange juice for this. This is 250 grams of raisins and 100 grams of juice. Then we want to produce our sweet stiff starter. Therefore we take 180 grams of wheat flour, 90 grams of water, 10 grams of sourdough starter and 25 grams of sugar. And then we mix everything with a spoon, and you will figure out after some seconds of stirring that the starter is quite stiff, so you have to take it out of your glass and continue mixing it by hand. And when all the water is combined with the wheat flour, put it back in the glass and leave it at room temperature overnight. At the next day it's time for our main dough, and look at the starter, it nearly tripled in size. Wow, that's really awesome. So we need 400 grams of wheat flour for this dough, and we add 75 grams of sugar as well as 110 grams of milk. And then we crack 3 eggs into it, so that's roughly 165 grams. And then we add our sweet stiff starter, and look at the gluten, it's really, really cool. And then mix everything with your hands together. You can also use a kitchen machine, of course. Once everything combined, cover it with some plastic wrap and let it sit on the countertop for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes it's time to add butter. It's 100 grams of butter and as well as 7 grams of salt. And then use your hands again and combine everything. Cover it with a plastic wrap, and after 30 minutes it's time to incorporate our raisins. The easiest solution of doing that is lamination. As you have seen in some of my other videos, you want to spread the dough on your countertop and then you can sprinkle the other ingredients. So squeeze the raisins before you would like spread it on the dough, else the dough gets too wet. Then take a dough scraper and fold the dough over. Then you can shape it to a dough ball. This now goes into our bowl, and then I'm using my hands to mix the dough with the raisins a little bit more. Cover it again and let it rest for another 30 minutes. And now it's time to do some stretch and folds in order to get some more gluten development. So take a hand and then pull the dough over to the other side until you noticeably have some tension in the dough. Cover it again with a plastic wrap, and after 30 minutes it's time to divide the dough. So we want to have like rolls of the weight of 110 grams. So take the dough scraper and cut a piece of the dough. And I have speeded up this process a bit for you because it takes some time. So, and once you have divided your dough into the preferred size, you use your dough scraper to get some tension to these pieces. That's one method to do. The other one would be take your hand, like I'm doing here, and roll the dough. This makes it also like perfectly round and nice, and then you can maybe use the dough scraper for the last bits. So also this process takes a lot of work, but it's worth of doing it. Once this has been done, it's time to proof our rolls. So therefore we take a kitchen towel, and then I have some starch that I sprinkle over it. So it's corn starch, but you can also use potato starch. And then I'm pressing the rolls a little bit so they're not round but a little bit oval, and then I place them upside down in the kitchen towel. Provide some guidance, as you have seen in my baguette videos, with the towel. And then cover them with another kitchen towel. You don't have to cover them with so much starch than I did here, but I was a little bit scared that they would stick. While we wait for the sourdough to really kick in, please take a moment and like this video, subscribe to my channel and enable notifications so you don't miss any of my next videos. Thanks. After 4 hours, the buns have increased a lot in size, so it's time now to transfer them on some baking sheet. And then we put some egg wash on top. I have not had enough eggs, so I was combining some egg with some milk. That would also work.
I've preheated my oven to 220 degrees Celsius, that's 428 degrees of Fahrenheit. And once I place them into the oven, I will reduce the temperature to 200 degrees of Celsius, that's 390 degrees of Fahrenheit. And I will bake them for 8 to 20 minutes and the first 5 minutes with steam. And look at these beauties. Really, really nice and super light. So it's time to cut them. Super soft and wow, a nice open crumb, and they really smell amazing. Oh my god. So enjoy these lovely pictures. Bon appetit!
I hope you enjoyed the video. I find this variant much better than with yeast, and I will bake this recipe more often now. When you bake this recipe, feel free to leave me a comment below the video and tag me on Instagram. What are your 3 favorite things to bake? Feel free to write it to me under the video. See you next time, Eddie, and goodbye.